This is a journey to a place whose lessons the world must never forget. In the abandoned homes and buildings of this former Soviet world, it is forever 1986. For this is the scene of the world's worst ever nuclear disaster, Chernobyl.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we are now in exclusion zone of Chernobyl.
33 years since buses evacuated around 350,000 people. An influx of hundreds of tourists arrive every day in this part of Ukraine. The 19-mile-wide exclusion zone is now an official tourist attraction. If you want something to remember your trip by, how about a Chernobyl t-shirt? There are fridge magnets here, there's even a glow-in-the-dark mug. And if we come past the gas mask and protective suit, how about some Chernobyl ice cream? Tourists are told they're exposed to no more radiation than a transatlantic flight. So how frightened do they feel?
I was a bit nervous, but on the bus on the way over, they really reassured us that it's kind of a normal level of radiation to be exposed to and things like that. So yeah, I'm excited now as well for the day.
We went out and bought new clothes so that we wouldn't have to bring them back or throw them away. So I'm nervous.
In April 1986, Chernobyl's reactor 4 exploded during a safety test. Design faults combined with Soviet incompetence and secrecy compounded the effects. Radiation affected a huge area. No one knows how many lives Chernobyl has claimed in total. The figures are the subject of much scientific debate. The official Soviet toll was 31, but estimates range between 4,000 and 93,000 deaths, with many more suffering long-term health impacts. The ghost town of Pripyat lies nearby. Its residents had just 2 hours to leave, grabbing what they could, never to return. But today, the tourists, like the trees, seem to be growing at every turn. Chernobyl's tragedy was recently dramatized in an HBO series, which powerfully brought home the courage of those who faced the disaster. Its success has seen tourist numbers spike, with more than 100,000 visitors expected this year.
We did watch it, and it's been one of the main things we've talked about on the tour bus. Everybody's seen it. Everybody wants to see those sites.
100. 200.
They measure radioactive hotspots with Geiger counters. There's no shortage of selfies, some of which have been criticized as disrespectful. So do Chernobyl and tourism mix? Tour organizers insist they do.
From the very beginning, you clearly explain that it's not Disneyland. This is the place of the tragedy, which has to be respected. The group feels that as well. It's important to inform people what happened here.
We were given special access inside the plant, which now lies concealed inside a huge new protective £2 billion shell. Wearing protective clothing, we headed down the golden corridor linking the reactors. The aging gold aluminium walls and linoleum floor, a reminder of the basic Soviet protection against radiation. It was in a control room exactly like this, unchanged since the mid-80s, that operators were the first to confront the disaster. It's difficult to comprehend the panic and horror which played out that night. Nearby lies the exploded reactor core. It's still dangerous, with nuclear fuel breaking down the decaying concrete sarcophagus. We could only stay here for a short time, given the radiation risks. The remains of reactor 4, which exploded, are encased behind me. Now this protective arch is in place, work to dismantle it will soon begin and will take another 6 years.
Okay, ready?
Outside, next to a memorial, tourists snap more pictures. But there are many in this country raising questions about how appropriate this all is. So I'm heading to Kiev, to meet those who live with Chernobyl's legacy. Tamara Krasitska runs a charity helping the disaster's victims. She has a simple message for the tourists.
Ну, хотелось бы этим людям просто показать лица. Тех людей, которые сейчас лежат, просто сопоставить то, что они делают, и увидеть этих ребят. Просто-напросто. Они бы посмотрели им в глаза и все поняли. Извините.
More than 600,000 so-called liquidators risked their lives in the lethal clean-up operation. Many of them now struggle to survive on a state pension.
And then this is the pension payment there on that.
Viktor Gaidak was one of them. He told me about the effects he believes Chernobyl has had on his health.
2 инфаркта тяжелейших, 2 онкологии тяжелейших. Вот. Желудок после операции у меня уходило 150 грамм.
How angry do you feel when you see businesses making money from tourists at Chernobyl?
Да, возмущение это. Я заработал там, подайте эту, не, то. Я на ликвидации заработал вот это. Мы ничего не стоим в этом государстве.
There are also concerns for the possible health effects on other generations. Marina Sobotna, a mother of 2 young boys, was one of those evacuated from Pripyat when she was 6.
Вы знаете, сразу же через год у меня начались проблемы со здоровьем. Причем оно приобрело такую форму, что это перешло и на моих детей.
Her father died and her 2 sons, Kirill and Ilya, are now receiving hospital treatment for a kidney disease. She's in no doubt Chernobyl is to blame. What does she think of the tourists?
Знаете, всегда люди интересовались чем-то таким. Знаете, вот так же, как и в Освенцим, да, люди едут, люди смотрят, кто-то вспоминает, кто-то просто фоточки делает, образно говоря. Знаете, ты не повлияешь на это.
Yulia Balashevska is a scientist at one of Ukraine's nuclear agencies. There's no disguising her anger at Chernobyl's tourism.
The most disgusting thing about this tourist business in Chernobyl exclusion zone is that they are making money on people's ignorance. That's the worst thing about it.
Should this stop now?
I believe it should be limited very much. That's my personal opinion.
We contacted the Ministry of Ecology and Natural Resources, but received no response. In the past, the Ukrainian government has said Chernobyl is a unique place and must be shown to the world. At Chernobyl's exit, tourists are coming to the end of their day. So what do they think now?
I wasn't prepared for it. Or it doesn't really hit home until you see it. And it really is tragic. Human beings caused something to the environment, to each other. And it makes me very sad.
There's no shortage of noise in the debate over tourism here. But when you reflect in the silence, it's clear that for so many, Chernobyl will always be sacred ground.